Fáilte go léir chuirde is smisise Tomás Mark Carroll ó Dingle Hub. Tá mí anna hásta dul raig lenar mionstránú crocogíine ag dul na rúnt foiinemh. Tá mí de caint le ambassadóí ó túnscadála crocogíine le ESB Networks. Beg tuig oscailte fiúlagain chun tuiscinteáil chun is atá gaiirí le na ambassadóí leis an technoliacht nua seo. Fall to everyone. I'm Tom Fitzgerald from the Dingle Hub, and I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator for the Dingle Peninsula 2030 initiative. We're delighted to be continuing our series, Dingle Adapts Energy. Over 5 weeks, we talked to ESB Networks Dingle Project Ambassadors. Today is our final chat with our 5th ambassador, having a virtual open house to understand how the ambassadors are adapting to the renewable energy technologies in real life, in their homes, and with their businesses. We want to get insight into how these technologies work and how the ambassadors incorporate them into their daily lives. What impact they have, what the challenges are, what they've learned, and what advice they would give to people getting started on their renewable energy journey. Just to add, as I mentioned, that this is the 5th of our 5 chats with our ambassadors. So on Tuesday next, June the 29th at 1 p.m. We'll conclude the series with an interactive session with a panel of experts. They'll cover a range of bases regarding moving to renewable technologies, how that transition works. They'll answer your questions around grants, as I said, renewable technologies, sustainability and action in real life. So for more information on that, you can visit our website, dinglehub.com or dinglepeninsula2030.com. And finally, I'd just like to take the opportunity to thank the SFI for Discover program, without whose funding this initiative wouldn't be possible. So that's enough about me. I'd like to introduce our ambassador from Flying the Flag for Lisbon, Dinny Galvin. Dinny's married to Nicola and they have 5 children. I've got a list in front of me to go down through. To take me 2 hours. Dinny's a dairy farmer. He's always had a huge interest in the environment and climate change. Very much interested in technology and innovation, and a real driver of technology and innovation himself. Dinny has installed through the initiative solar PVs, the home energy monitoring system, electric vehicle and electric and a smart EV charger for the home, a battery management system, and heat pump. Dinny has probably, Dinny, you were one of the first people to have a heat pump in West Kerry. You had a heat pump installed years ago.
Hi, Tom. Yes, indeed. I guess back in the day, back when we built the house in 2006, we installed the heat pump back then. Now, we were delighted to qualify as one of the ambassadors because, an upgrade of a heat pump was going to be part of that. And in that photograph there, you have the outside part of the heat pump. So basically what you have there is you've got a large fan, and that draws in the air, which passes the gas, and that gas is sent back into the house then to heat the water in the cylinder. That's your heat pump inside. The cylinder is right at the back there. That's a large control panel there that's on the heat pump as well.
Very good. And tell me, Dinny, how do you find it? I mean, you were talking to me about it, but for example, have many people come to have a look at what you've installed? I know it's COVID now, but are you finding that people are interested in what you're doing? As an ambassador, like are neighbours taking an interest in the technologies that you're using?
Yes, there's fabulous interest. Look, I guess the COVID, put a damper on everything because you just couldn't leave people into your home. But as I've always said, our home will be open to anybody that wants to take a look at any time. And And hopefully going forward, we hold a festival here in Lisbon every year called Féile Lisbon.
Yeah.
I would have no problem at all, taking people about the house and showing them the new heat pump and what it can do, and if we get their minds thinking on what may be possible for themselves. There are some of the controls there on the right-hand side. You have the heat miser controls, and there's a chat up there halfway on the right-hand side where you can adjust the temperature of the whole cylinder. So yeah, look, certainly our home is open to anybody that wants to take a look. Again, the COVID kind of held the whole equipment up from being put in as well, because you just couldn't, it just wasn't possible. But so look, we're in now with a few weeks, and it's it's been monitored, and the information will be fabulous. We have.
Tell me, Dinny, just even like when you're talking about it, just to go right back. I mean, how and why did you want to get involved in the ESB Networks project? Like, what has motivated you to do this? I know I alluded to your interest in sustainability and things like that, but maybe you could tell us in your own words, like why did you get involved in the whole initiative?
I've always had an interest in energy and electricity and how it's being made. I'm all, anything that moves, I'm conscious that something power can be created with it. If it's flowing water, if it's the wind, I've always had a big interest in it, And look, I get 1 year in secondary school, but look, that's how things go. Sometimes life dishes out, different things. But look, perhaps there was a little bit of an engineer lost in me at some stage.
There sure is. Listen, how do you find the technology, Dinny? Like, that's one question that we get asked a lot. Like, is it all too techy for me? Will I be able to understand it? How is everything that you've done? How does it all combine and work, and how do you monitor it all?
So the new heat pump, the photograph there shows we had evacuated tubes for heating the water in the old cylinder, in the old heat pump cylinder. So we were able to hold on to those. The system needed a new pump, so that's they're the evacuated tubes there on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you have your PV panels, the 2.1 kilowatt system that's on the roof. And there's two apps. There's an app for the heat pump called the Melt Cloud. And you can go into that app and you can see what temperature the cylinder is at. It also gives you, there's a stat outside where you saw the first photograph of the large fan there, and that will give you the temperature, the outside temperature. And it can, there's a little prediction for the weather. That's hooked up with the weather analysis as well. So you can kind of predict what's going to happen a day ahead with the weather and stuff, from the temperature outside. And that's in the app. You can go in, you can adjust your heating with the app. You could turn it up or turn it down. Look, I would say with a heat pump, you get to a comfortable level and you leave your cylinder at that. If you need to change the temperature in the room, you have an individual stat in each bedroom which can turn up the heat or turn it down.
Okay. And
there's different apps. There's an app for the battery storage as well.
So what your advice to people would be not to fear the technology, that all these apps and tools exist to help you monitor and track in real time, like the energy that you're creating.
Yes, indeed, it's fabulous to be able to take out your phone and be able to take a look, and that's your Sonnen battery storage box there, and you can see through it, but there's 3 to 4 batteries stacked on top of each other there.
It's very tidy looking, isn't it?
Very tight. Yeah, that's the isolator, the PV isolator. So if anything went wrong, there's You can isolate the electricity, which is direct current. Your electricity is coming as a direct current from the PV panels. It's going into the Sonnen battery compartment there, where there's an inverter, and you have alternated current then going to different equipment around the house. And your battery charges up while you have light. It's not, yes, the more sunlight you have, the better, but it's not necessarily strong sunlight. Once you have light at all, you can see that the battery is being charged. And the fabulous app with this one, actually, it's just like a plus sign where you can see what's being created on the roof, and that's either going to send it to the battery, or it can send the current directly into the house. And if there's too much current being created, then it'll go back out onto the grid. So people's behavior, our behavior will change and has changed there with a few weeks. You turn on a dishwasher or a washing machine during the day now, just to capture some of the power that's being created.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like traditionally, you'd wait till after the supper in the evening, kind of, and then turn on the dishwasher when. Yeah. So you are finding that your habits are changing, but it sounds like the apps are helping you in that regard as well, aren't they? They're encouraging you to change.
Yeah, the apps are fabulous because it's educating you as to how you should use electricity, and where you can savings. And there on that photograph there, there's a new one that's on the black box on the left at the bottom there. There's a new that's the new pump for the solar tubes on the roof. And the control box is just to the right there. And again, you can see the heat that the roof, the evacuated tubes are sending down to the cylinder there. And you have all the control. That's the cylinder as a standalone, 300 liters. And look, a fabulous piece of equipment, absolutely. All the bedrooms and every room in the house is called a zone.
Okay.
So you have your on the bottom left there, you have all the different zones, and that's you can adjust the temperature in every room, whether you want it up or down. But like I say, once you get to a comfortable temperature, maybe come winter time that you need to adjust things up a little bit again. But summertime, but fabulous piece of equipment, yeah.
So you seem you really are an ambassador for it, Dinny, because you seem really passionate about it, and I can, even from having conversations with you, you're very keen to spread the word about this. Like, what advice would you give to somebody who's just thinking about this, who's looking at this now and they're saying, "Oh my God, look, all those pipes, all that technology, I wouldn't be able for it." Well, what advice would you give to people just to push them a little bit and get them into that transition mode?
Yeah, if I go back to 2006, I was working in the buildings for 10 years at that stage, and I had been in many homes that would be renovated and done up. And when you look at the lack of insulation, a simple thing like insulation, was lacking. So people didn't take any notice of buying large amounts of oil to heat their home. But the one big thing I would say to somebody starting off, it's possible to put in a heat pump into an existing home. Preferably if you're starting from scratch, well, you would go with it. But it's possible to put a heat pump into an existing home. But if you haven't the right level of insulation, that's going to be lost straight out through the walls or out through the roof of the house. So I would say insulation number one, because if you only did insulation first, you're going to help your existing heating system anyway. And electricity is very clean. I suppose I suffer quite a bit with sinus, and I'd have to put my hand up. I couldn't live in a house that would be heated with oil, because the minute I'd go inside the door, my nostrils would pick it up. Electricity is a very, very clean.
Clean.
use.
So it's having a positive impact on your health, which is very interesting as well. Yeah.
Certainly. Now, again, anybody suffering with allergies or sinus or anything like that, extreme heat would be the last thing as well. So you need to have a comfortable balance in between. But it's just so clean, there's no, we were, with the older heat pump, we were heating our house and heating the water with the last 16 years. And we had adequate amounts of it, and with adequate heat for something like €600 a year.
My God.
This is a far more advanced heat pump, so I'd expect this to be more efficient again, because there's an awful lot more equipment in it and that. Yes, insulation, and there's an Unpost have a tool there where you can go in and you can see all the grants that are available from the SEAI. And step by step, it would give you a great guide as to see where you should start and get probably a BER done on a home. And progress, like I say, start with insulation and progress, bit by bit.
Of course, Dinny, you're an energy mentor. You've also completed that side of things, that training as well through with Kerry College. Isn't that correct?
It is indeed, yeah, it is indeed. The 12 people from the peninsula did a community energy mentor course organised by Kerry ETB and the SEAI, and we had fabulous speakers, came to the Udaros building there in Dingle, and we learned an awful lot from them, how electricity is created and what we could do to our homes to improve them. And there's so much being looked at on the peninsula, between anaerobic digestion and heat pumps and hydro and wind, maybe small wind turbines properly sited, of course. There's there's massive potential on the peninsula once all the people and once all the bodies work together.
It's true. I mean, and you mentioned that because you established a sustainable energy committee as well on the peninsula with farmers on the peninsula. You're that passionate about the peninsula becoming more sustainable.
I am indeed. As a farmer, as a food producer, we know going forward that our food has to be sustainably produced, and if it is, well, that's a great marketing point, and that's good for the farmers because you get extra money for your produce. But not only that, it's good for the whole community. Local produce, farm to fork makes an awful lot more sense to me, than sending all the food out of the peninsula and being processed outside of the area and then having to get it all back again,
And it's such good food as well, Dinny, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's the best of it. Yeah.
Fabulous milk, fabulous beef, fabulous lamb. And there's huge potential, we set up, I suppose I learned a lot from the SEAI, and I questioned them on would it be possible to set up a sustainable energy community of dairy farmers, and at first they kind of looked at me as if I was kind of daft, but look, that's okay. And so I spoke with a few of the farmers, and we sent in an application, and look, lo and behold, we're going strong. We've got good support from the SEAI. Yeah. And we're about to commence an energy master plan now, which has something like up to 90 farmers involved.
That's fantastic, Dinny.
There's great savings can be made financially for the farmers, but not only that, great carbon savings can be made. And we have, we know that our milk is going to have the screen image, which it has a lot of already, because again we have the milk that's produced on the peninsula is natural, because it's the grass is naturally salted by the sea, and you have a super product. You have a super product.
Tell me, Dinny, if Eamon Ryan was sitting in front of the Minister for the Environment, Climate and Communications, what bit of advice would you give to him? What would you tell him to do, particularly around the journey that you've taken now with energy and electricity and through the ESB networks, initiative? What would you feed back to him?
I would suggest that he speak to people like me, people on the ground. People on the ground have a great, we're in touch with this, we're in touch with the environment all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We have the EV vehicle there as well, and look, we wouldn't be doing long drives. It's a fabulous car. It's a Hyundai Kona, and Nicola, my wife, Nicola is using it more than I am right now, but that's okay. My job I have a van from my own job. I work as an AI man, so it wouldn't be suitable it would be suitable for driving about, but it wouldn't be suitable for taking the equipment that I need.
Yeah.
That car does 470 kilometers, and we charge it by night, and it costs €5.60 or 70 to get that 470 kilometers.
Seriously, my God, really? That's.
You don't have to think about that very long,
No, you don't.
I would say to Minister Ryan, make adjustments to people's tax bills. That's the best way you'll incentivize somebody to. They are expensive to buy. This car is worth over €40,000. So, it isn't every family person that would go out in the morning and hand over €40,000. So I would suggest, yes, the grants are there, but I would suggest, take it off of people's tax in the end of the year. That will incentivize them a lot more to go forward and purchase the car,
And it helps them then to start making the transition, doesn't it? You have to help people and bring them along in this as well. Listen, Dinny, we could stay talking all day. I've only just started, and we're over 20 minutes into the conversation. So listen, we better wrap it up. But we will continue, and I think that's a very good idea what you mentioned about the fatalist poll. Maybe we can discuss that. But certainly, if anybody wants to have a look at the technology that you've implemented in your home, then when things do open up, you as an ambassador, as an ESB ambassador, you'd be quite happy to show them around and talk them through the technologies. I mean, we really appreciate that. So listen, Dinny, míle buchas as bheith linganómh, agus míle buchas de gachéine tá ag fiachantisteach. Thanks for joining us, and I'd really like to thank Dinny Galvin for the marvelous insight he's given us over the last 20 minutes. Don't forget, as we mentioned, to register for the Dingle Hub's Energy Interactive Session. It's on the 29th, Tuesday the 29th at 1 p.m. And we'd be delighted if you could join us because it is a great first step in finding your own way and contributing to a more sustainable future on the peninsula, and taking a page out of the impact that Dinny has had solely on the peninsula it speaks volumes, and we really appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today, Dinny. So, Gurmina Margaret.
Margaret.